Hello. I do not have this pulled up on YouTube. I just have it pulled up on StreamYard. So if I'm behind in comments or someone commenting, forgive me. I'm going to give people a few minutes to come in. Not a few minutes, probably just a minute. And I'm coming on quite late tonight, just because that's what time I could fit in. But I wanted to talk about something really exciting. I'm so nervous. I keep like shaking. Ooh. Hi, Dylan. I'm always so nervous before a live. I don't know why. I guess it's just because I associate going live with you seeing the real me, the unedited version of me. Oh, hi. I'm so happy y'all are here. And I don't know if anyone else in the community is going live right now. I should have checked that beforehand because sometimes I don't like to coincide, like if someone else is going live and, like we all want to be part of everyone's lives. And it's so hard to make lives for me. It's even harder to make them really, like where I'm, have to be somewhat presentable to you guys. But I'm going to let my nerves cool down because I got my home bodies here, Elizabeth and Dylan. And tonight I want to talk about something special, but it's going to be quite weird to talk about it because I don't have like a prototype. I don't have like any visual aids. I don't have any visual aids for you guys. And I've been a little sick, so for days. So my voice is probably going to be deeper than normal, but we'll go with it. So it's probably going to just be a chill live. I mean, I'm not going to really be doing anything but chatting. So if y'all are into that, stick around, And I just got a notification on my phone. How much y'all want to bet that that's somebody else in the community going live? Which is crazy to me because I should have checked. No, let's see. No tarot people that I know of. It's fine. Like I said, I don't know if the comments are coming in where I can see them like as soon as they pop up because I don't have usually I have like a window open with YouTube open, but it's so distracting to see my face like over here and then my face in the StreamYard. So I try not to keep my face over here talking like in a glitch. Oh, forgive me. Oh my goodness. I don't hope I cough like really bad while I'm on this live. I know, Elizabeth. Like a piece of paper? You put a piece of paper or something? Because even to see the chat and stuff, I'd have to like completely cover this because I've got two screens. I'd have to completely cover like this whole half of the screen. But it's fine. I can still see y'all talking, so I know you go live quite a bit, Elizabeth. Oh, okay. I'm glad that more people are going live now, and I like that. A couple of people in the community are doing like more lives. Now I want to tell you something before we get started. I've been missing some people in the magical community. I emailed a couple of people the other day that I knew were kind of on YouTube, and then yeah, sticky note. I emailed Ange because I know she's on a hiatus. Okay. But I usually can reach her by email. And I just was thinking about her the other day. And I literally emailed her and it sent the email back to me. And it said mail failure. And I was like, oh my God, what happened to her? I can't even reach her by email. I was just going to reach out and tell her that I miss her. And then there were a couple of people that I'd been watching in the magical sphere that I thought had YouTube channels, and then I went back and they'd either gotten rid of their content or something. So there's a lot of like magicians and witches out there that have just dipped. And really what I want this book to do is bring us all back together, because I feel like it's so hard to be a witchy YouTuber. I actually made a video about this. The last video I posted on YouTube was a vulnerable video, and I was really nervous about posting that, about my views about community and yada yada yada. And I was going to delete it, but a lot of people said not to. But I was still so nervous, and I literally left it up and didn't even comment back to people. I didn't even want to engage in comments. I was like, literally, I am so scared to open up the comment thread on that video, and I shouldn't be. But what I've noticed over the last couple of years is that there's been so many, specifically witches, because I consider myself a witch, and magicians too. Some magicians that I had followed back like a couple of years ago that have just dipped, like Owlvine. I miss the hell out of Owlvine. Now Lady Gravedancer has come back, albeit, through a new lens, which is fine. She can do her, she can do herself. And I like that she put her content back up, because that kind of stuff was prevalent to me. I watched her stuff so much back in the day. I know. I think Owlvine had gotten, I'm not sure. I think she was doing some stuff, and she was getting kind of antsy about posting some of her private practice, which we all go through. Sometimes we don't want to post like every single thing about our practice. And then when Ange announced, Ange announced that she was leaving, like she was like, hey, I need a break. I'm going to be going and doing some stuff, and I'll be off, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, because she does this. So, she had done that a couple of times, and I realized, I was like, okay, well, in the post that she posted, she said that we could contact her by email. And then I realized she got rid of all her content on her channel. She got rid of her channel. I was like, what the hell? So, yeah, and shifting away from YouTube is okay, because I know a lot of content creators that were on YouTube and they don't like the ads, they don't like this, they don't like that, and or they prefer, because a lot of them, like Joey Morris, wherever you are, I'm sending you a kiss, girl. I used to love watching and binging Joey, and even though I don't subscribe to a lot of what she does in her pathway, I love and miss that girl so much. And she just moved over to Patreon. It's not like she's not around, but it's like on YouTube, which is like my TV. It's like my entertainment. It's like where I binge these people. I've binged all the magic stuff. And I actually got so keen to get into this nostalgic stage that I even, I went through this Tumblr rabbit hole, okay, where I was reading up, rereading some of Sarah Ann Lawless's blogs, which, if you don't know who she is, look her up. She's an herbalist and a witch. I'm sure she identifies as a witch. I'm not sure. And she used to post so much on her blog about animism and spirituality. And man, this was like 7 years ago. So in a nostalgia, I was overcome by needing to watch all these peeps. That I went through her blog, and so, and I admire the people that know that they need to shift away from YouTube, because there's so much negativity out there, and so many trolls, and so many people especially after that video I posted, and a couple of people were asking me, like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, the witchcraft or the magic YouTube that I am, circle I subscribe to, I don't really notice this, and this. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's great for you. That's great. They're either keeping their circles, small and compact, and that's great. But I have followed so many that I needed to voice it. And now, see, Tiptoe Chick was a little bit before my YouTube time, because I had gotten onto the scene probably right probably right at 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, when all the big names were really coming up and making content all the time. So Joey, Alvin, and then it was right before that, really, right before, and Lady Grave Dancer, and then right before that, Tiptoe Chick had passed away. And everyone was talking about it, and I wasn't privy to her channel. I went back and watched some of them, and then I realized, yeah, she's cool and everything, but I wasn't actively engaging with her content like the ones that were on before me. So, yeah. Now Katie, she was doing some good work on her channel too, and I admired and respected the hell out of her. But she did step away. I'm not sure if she stepped away from her path, but she stepped away from doing content on Magick and went over to do a book. She became like a librarian or a bookseller or something like that, and she makes the channel about books now, mostly talking about children's books and stuff. So I follow her. And then Candy, I know, was making some content on her new channels. Like, she's got a couple of channels now going, I think. One about dolls and books. She's got a literary channel now that I follow because I love books too. But she doesn't post any, like, hardly any witchcraft videos anymore. So there's just a couple people that have, like, just moved around, right? They're just, like, shifting, and it's like they're tectonic plates, and they're just, like, shifting around and doing their own thing, which is fine. It's just sometimes I'm like, okay, well, is there something that can just, like, shift us back in and let us all, yeah. Oh, tarot. She did talk about tarot mostly, I guess. Let's see. What are y'all talking about? I don't want to miss any comments. Why did you stop watching witch and pagan content, Dylan? If you don't mind my asking. Well, while I'm waiting on Dylan, because I don't want to just have silence. It's like, you know how when you used to listen to the radio and there would be silence on the lines? It was like awkward because there wasn't even any white noise. You'd just be like listening to a CB radio turn. Showing my age here. But what I wanted to do with this new book, and y'all know I've been dishing out some poetry books like crazy. I've been just pushing them out because I had so many in my books, like in my composition notebooks, that were just filled with all my words. So I put them together and themed them out, and I've been putting some poetry books out. Now, what I've been wanting to do for 2 years is write a witchcraft book, just a witchcraft book. But I was like, I don't want to write about witchcraft specifically. And I didn't want to write about, because I'm an advocate for myself not being a teacher. Like, I don't want to teach. I'm not a teacher, okay? And I don't want to present myself as a teacher. Never have. And so with this book, I was like, I don't want to write a how-to. I don't want to write about witchcraft specifically. And I am also an advocate for, like, magic. If I had a religion, it'd be magic. Magic with a K, And so I thought, okay, all right, let's do something with magic. And then I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought, what could I do? That would be me. That would be something I do, that I could do, that could talk about magic through the lens of the foundations of doing magic. Sounds kind of complicated, but I was like going through this, and I was like, all right, I'll figure it out. Oh, and I realized that I could write a manifesto, and it just clicked. Something just clicked, and I was like, yes, I can write my manifesto, and it'll be great. And I worked on this. I've been working on this for like 2 years on the back burner. Like I had been working on my poetry, and those would take the forefront, and then it would be the next poetry book, and yada, 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 yada. And then I was dishing those out more than I could even stand it. But I knew I needed to get the ones that I've already gotten out. I knew I needed to get them out of my head, out of this kind of like tertiary, temporary place. And so I did that, and then devoted like a good portion to this book. So it feels like something that will be good, although it's so confusing to explain it to people. I mean, because I've been trying to explain it to my beta readers, and it's hard to put into words what the hell this even is. So we're going to get into it, but I'm going to read what Dylan said. You know, and I don't garner my feed as often as I probably should, because I still follow a lot of people that have left. Like I'll say I'll do something and I'll have their name pop up on like the top subscription or whatever, and I'll just click their name out of some kind of, like you said, like nostalgia, and I'll realize they hadn't posted in 4 years. I'm like, where have I been? Where have I been? Not even noticed that you haven't even been posting. Well, and sometimes that's needed. I mean, that's what we're talking about right now. You know, sometimes life takes us and we just don't realize. Like, I know that Julianne Victoria did this for a little while. She had left for a long time. Felt like that. She was a tarot tuber, and she had come back. And when she came back, she does like weekly tarot readings now. And I'm not sure if that's what she wants to do from now on, or if that's what if she wants to get back into the group of YouTube. So she's back, and it's like people just kind of shift in and out. And but not to put any pressure on you, Dylan, but you have been there with us witches. And you know, it just seems like everywhere I went, it could be any of the witches that I would follow, you'd be having a comment on there, or you'd be in the live or something. You were just everywhere. And people noticed that, because I noticed that when you first reached out to me when I was doing a live or something. I don't even know what I was doing, and I was like, oh my God, Dylan, I've made it. I'm a witch YouTuber now because I got Dylan in my comments. And it just felt so validating to have you around, because you were in you had such a huge fear. But if you need to concentrate on the mundane, then you got to do you. I know I've got 2 kids, because I've got one, my middle child is in like the gifted program or whatever. So I have my oldest and him graduating in May, coming up 2026. And so I know that next semester, like starting January to May, I'll just be hella busy worried about graduation and all the things that come with that. So they'll be graduating high school. And it'll be a hugely busy time for me next year. So a lot of this stuff I'm bringing in, because I know next year is going to be really busy, at least for the first half. And we'll see how it goes. But graduating from high school I've got the jitters about it, because it'll be both of my babies graduating in the same day, which is weird, but it is what it is. So I'll be busy like come next spring. And so maybe that's why I've just been like, I don't know, maybe I've just been like trying to busy myself up, because I know next year I'll be like you. I'll have so much excuse me. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do that. Mundane things next year. So, but with this Magick Manifesto, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look up my synopsis, okay, and see if y'all can figure out what I'm trying to say. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Because okay, y'all know, if you know my poetry book, I have like 1-pagers, right? Like I'll have a title at the top and then a 1-page document that it probably won't go to the next page. So it's like 1-page poems, right? One for each page. That's how I did this. Just like a manifesto. In the theme of manifesto, I decided to keep 1-pagers for information. Now I got a lot of information in this book. Okay. But they're 1 page each. Like, so each page will have like a theme or something like that. And it'll be great. So I'm going to read this for you guys. And I would never say it menacingly, Dennis. Dennis. I don't know why I said Dennis. I'm thinking about Dennis the Menace. Dylan. So I'm going to read the synopsis and just see if y'all can come up to like what it is, okay? Because I don't even know how to put it in words. I was all tongue-tied there too. Maybe I'm still nervous. Magick Manifesto is an engaging collection of affirmations, statements, permission slips, and thought-provoking questions. There's a lot of questions in this book. Because y'all know me. I philosophize every damn thing. That convey essential beliefs, principles, and messages surrounding magic. Within these thoroughly crafted pieces, you will discover reflections drawn from a continually developing magical practice. The book recounts the stepping stones of a practitioner that eventually led to the realization of one's true identity. It is a testament of the transformative power of embracing one's true self and the magic found within. This compendium, because it very much feels like that, provides a guide to magic suitable for both adept and amateur practitioners seeking to inspire the magical individual. Whether you're a witch, an occultist, pagan, sorcerer, or a magician, you're sure to find messages in this seminal work that guide you with wisdom, laughter, and play on your magical journey. Did that sum anything up? Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. Basically, I have it's a compendium, which means that I've got like how many chapters? 12 or 13 chapters. And instead of talking about how to do magic, it's more about looking through the lens of magic to see how things can be done. If that makes sense. God. Okay, so all right. And I wish I could show you, but I'm gonna of course I'm gonna show you like when I get some prototypes in and stuff like that. I'll show you like the real book stuff, and show you how it looks. But for now, let's just go over the chapters, right? We have answering the call is the first chapter. This chapter is all about reclaiming the fact that it's okay that you started magic in innocuous, mundane ways. You saw it in a movie. You saw it in a Disney movie. You saw it in a comic book. You saw it, you read about it in a book. You read about a witch. You read about a magician. You read about a wizard. You read Gandalf's story and was like, I want to be that when I grow up. It's still valid, right? This book is all about validating the magic that one sees, not trying to tell you what magic is or how to see it. It's more about the philosophy. Again, that's why it's called Philosophy and Personal Gnosis. So it's about answering the call. We're answering the call. Magic calls us for some reason, and we're hearing it in the universe. We're hearing the phone call, you know, and then all of a sudden we're like, you know what? I got to answer the phone. Okay? So that's the first chapter. And then we move on to cosmology and ontology. Now, I put them in. I put cosmology in and ontology because I believe that the universe as a whole could, not should, but could play a role in magic and its practice, right? So I'm like, okay, sitting there thinking, okay, well, cosmology is for this. We're talking about the universe. We're talking about magic through the lens of the universe, and we're talking about what things are and the condensed version of the universe and how magic will play into that. So I like, what is the universe? What's the edge of reality? Is there an edge of reality? Is it all in the imagination, science, and the universal intelligence behind all of it? Has this kind of theme of magic running through it. And it's all about getting to what you believe about it, but reading these won't tell you what I believe. It'll just ask you questions so that you can figure out what you believe about the universe and whether or not it should or could play a role in your magical practice. So it's all really about this book is like trying to get you to write your own manifesto. That's really what the objective of this book is for you to come up with your own thing. And then the next one is ontology. Now this is the nature of being, like what it means to be, what it means to be human, what it means to be, what it means to have names for things, what it means for not to have names, journaling prompts, sort of, okay? There's more questions than prompts, okay? Only because that's how I think. I think in questions. I think in this kind of like broad way. So instead of telling you, okay, think about this, it's more about I'm going to ask you a question and then your brain's going to think about blah, 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 blah. And it can go, instead of just X, one prompt is X. And I want you to think about X, Y, Z, and then A, B, C over here too. I want your brain to go into rabbit holes. So it's more, I'm asking questions like almost every page. So you could think of it like journal prompts. I mean, again, the message of this is for you to approach this like you would be writing your own manifesto, like coming up with your own belief structure, your own foundations for what your magical practice should look like at the end of you writing that manifesto. Because a manifesto, if I didn't explain it, is just a declaration. They're declarations for you to say what you believe in, what you love, and what you're committed to. Now, the four main questions of my entire life, okay, my dad taught me these, that I use with I use these with my gods and my goddesses and all my deities and my spiritual beings and stuff. I use this Dylan. I use, what the hell was I saying, Dylan? Damn. I blanked out. Oh my God, Dylan, I blanked out. Anyway, let's get back. Okay. So I use this kind of modality for you to just generate your own. And the four questions I was going to talk about was, what do you love? No, sorry. What will you create? What will you destroy? What do you love? And what are you willing to go to war for? Because my dad was always that is all fair in love and war. Okay. I'm not going to give you my answer, but I have an answer. And that's kind of what the important part of this book is that it's okay if you don't have an answer, but the journey finding your answer is the whole point. So this is not going to tell you anything about magic. It's going to tell you about how to structure your thoughts. I don't even know. It's not even structuring your thoughts. Again, you'd have to read it. Thank you for keeping up with it, because I wasn't. It just left my brain when you said that ontology sounds sexy. I was like, okay. So, and something about deity too, because ontology is the nature of being. So it's getting you into the core of, what do you believe about spirits? What do you believe about mythological creatures, dimensions, parallel dimensions, other timelines, other things, fixed versus flexible? What's the God, the theism that you abide by, and there's a lot. And sometimes I even give you lists, like for the God page, I named it God Who. Some theisms: monotheism, polytheism, pantheism, panentheism, panpsychism, and hentheism. So there's a lot. And that's just for you to be like, okay, this is some theisms, and I need to figure out how I think about God, whether or not a God exists, and in what form, if it does have a form. Is it formless? Blah, 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 right? So again, I'm not telling you who my gods are. I'm just trying to say, maybe you need to figure out what you believe about God. Because if you don't have a basis for anything, it's really about building the foundation. And I wanted a way for us to build a foundation of magic as like the high lens that we're going to look through, like this prismatic, kaleidoscopic lens that we would have to look through, that is magic. We have to be able to form some kind of like foundation. That's it. I'm sorry. I have to breathe in. I have to take a breath. And yes, if that's what you mean by sexy, Dylan, then this whole book is going to be sexy. Okay? This whole book's coming at you nude and red hot. Okay? This whole book, because it even going back through it, like if I read one page, I would think, this is like Witchcraft 101 or Magic 101, this one page. But then you sum it up and it's something completely different. I know I'm not trying to toot my own horn because I'm not sure this will even go over well. I don't. It's just something that, anyway. So, ontology, then you have desire, which is hugely important for me and magic, because desire is that cauldron in which we make an intention. Okay? So it's all about the steps that we're taking, you know? And we're taking these steps to form this kind of practice. And even if someone were interested in magic, how do I say this? If someone were interested in magic, but only from the basis of, hey, I saw this in a Disney movie or Harry Potter or whatever. I saw this in something, and I'm wondering how this could apply, how I could do this in real life. That was my main question growing up. I was seeing Maleficent, and I was seeing Mad Madam Mim, and I was seeing the wizards. I had a thing about wizards, always had a thing about wizards. And the question I always asked myself was, even if I had to make this up, even if I was making it all up, it was all in my head, how could I practically apply magic in my life? Now, witchcraft became my answer, okay? But not before devising a lot of the answers that I've posed questions about in this book, you know? And thinking about it, I'm going to get emotional, because when I was a child, I would climb up this tree. And I've talked about this a lot of times before. I used to climb up this tree, and I used to think about magic. And I would cry. Young, too. I would be crying because I would know. It was like somehow the world was trying to oppress the magic in me by telling me all the time that magic never existed. Okay? Constantly. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. It's just a phase. You'll grow out of it. It's just your little fairy glamour time right now. You're just a little fairy princess. And I was constantly told that. And I would cry about that. Not about the fact that I couldn't be blah, 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 blah. Okay? It was just the fact that I had so many people try to tell me that magic didn't exist. And I knew it did. I knew it did. I didn't believe in it. I knew it. It was intrinsic. And I was like, how can it not exist? This shit lives in me. It lives in me. I felt like someone was trying to carve something out of me by when they would say that. When someone would look at me and say, you sound kind of childish when you say that. When you say that you love magic. You sound kind of childish. And it would just rip something out of my soul. And it took me years, guys. It took me years to get to a place where I was comfortable enough to even talk about it, like with myself. I had this like adjacent notion of it, you know, like it would be over here, but I wouldn't touch it. It became something like taboo within my own life. Instead of, somehow it got ripped from my soul. It never left me. It was always beside me and stuff. But anyway, I don't want to sound any more crazy than I do. And see, I'm already stopping myself out of sheer conditioning, which I go to in this book too. But it was like something like my inner child, the child that would have needed to know, yeah, child, magic does exist. They don't know it. They don't want to know it. It does exist, but you're going to have to put the work in. You're going to have to put the work in. And it's not all about benefits. It's not all about hope. It's not all about wishing. It's not all about wishing. And it took so much conjuring for me to figure out what I wanted to know about magic. That's what I want this book to be. My manifesto. From 8-year-old me till now, that's what this book is. That's why I called it personal gnosis. Even though you're really not getting a lot of my personal gnosis, you're getting more of my questions that I used to ask myself. Like somebody would say something like, stop daydreaming. And I would be like, I'm gonna tuck that shit in my pocket. Something like that. So anyway, so desire is the next chapter. Okay. And I talk about things in a dualistic way. I love to do this. Okay. So when I present something like, for instance, what did I put? Lust versus love. Love that concept. Sorry. Lust versus love, hope versus turmoil, pleasure and displeasure. Okay. So in the desire, we're not talking about what you want. We're talking about the question itself. What do you want? Because if I asked you guys right now, if someone were to ask me, what is it that you want? It'd be like that scene from Notebook. What do you want? What do you want? And he's like sitting there and she's like, I don't know, you know? And it's so true. Okay. Well, I can see where that comes from. Okay. From so much conditioning, so much things people would tell you about other things and trying to subvert you. Okay. You don't know what you want. It's really hard. Okay. To know what you want. You may think you do, but I found it really hard. And so I wanted to break the desire chapter down into what it actually means to want something. And so it's about wishing. It is about wishing, but it's not only about that. It's about in the throes of turmoil, in the throes of heartbreak, you need something in that moment. You need something in that moment. What is it? You're asking the universe. You know how like when you've been, remember back when you've been in the most pain. Oh, I'm sorry. God, I was trying to get well before this live. I thought back to the moment that I was in the most pain. And this could have been emotional pain, my heaviest heartbreak, my worst betrayals. And there's that moment that you look up into the sky and you go, and you just scream out what you want. Just let blah, blah, blah do blah, 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 blah. And you're just like shouting it. You want to shout it. Even if you shout it in your head, you're just like, oh my God. And then it's like at that moment, you know what you need. I do. I probably do need to blow my nose, but I'd have to get up. I don't have any tissues here. So maybe I'll do that in a second. Just because I'll probably don't want to choke on my own stuff. You know what I'm saying? We'll take a drink though. Now, some of the stuff that you would think would be in the desire chapter aren't. But I've got wishes. I've got ideals. Now, my lust versus love page, it talks about the meaning of desire that's not really desire. You know what I'm saying? And then the difference between a soul vibration and a need. Because when you need stuff, those are like, you have basic needs, right? Basic needs. But then you have those needs that are vibrating from the soul. Do you believe in those? Do you have soul vibrations? Are those talking to you in a way that you can understand, in a language that you can interpret, in a language that you know, in a language that you don't know? See, that's what I'm talking about. It's You think you'll read the page and then it'll be like the page is being ripped open. That's actually why. Now, Dylan, just because you said that, and I'll say something like, I allow the phase. I allow you to bring those tissues through me, through the screen. Like, I just want to get all witchy. I want to get all witchy on you, and all of a sudden my nose will clear up, and I won't need to blow it anymore. And that's the magic. That's the magic right there. That placebo-esque magic. What was I gonna do? Oh, show you the cover. Damn. I'm distracted tonight. Let's see. I'll have to pull it up on my phone because I don't have anything for you. I can't share my screen. I could. I don't know how. So I'll just have to show you the best I can here from my Canva page. Now, here, oh, you can't see it very well. How can you see it? There's something there. Let me see if I can get a little closer. No, it's like ripped paper. Now, if you saw the thumbnail, I've posted a couple of pictures about this already. Let me do this. Like those people that were showing rocks and stuff. It's like the name of the book is ripped out of like a newspaper. And I wanted it to seem like your chest is getting ripped open. But your chest is paper. And it's the paper that you've written all these things on in your psyche. So it's like you're just, you're ripping yourself up. Oh, hello, Oscar. That makes me so happy. Thank you. You have done that before, Dylan. But it was fine. So anyway, it's about ripping yourself up. I want you to rip yourself up. And I want you to come out of this semi-confused, but then there be a clarity at the end. I hope that there's some kind of clarity too. And I talk a lot about in this book about humanity and how at the end of the day, you're still human. Okay. But that has nothing to do with you being like, that doesn't mean you're not preternatural. And that doesn't mean that you're not supernatural. You're all the naturals, if that makes sense. Now, logically, from desire, we move into intention. Again, I'm not trying to teach you what intention is. I'm trying to go through the logistics of intentions and what it means to have intentions. So, like some of them are logic, how you're going to base intentions through logic. Are you basing them in logic, or are you basing them in some kind of like left brain, right brain hemisphere kind of thing? Is this more of a creative intention that you're going to create, or are you really using logic behind it? Free will? What the hell is that? Dependency? Are you dependent on your intentions? Things like that. How you could get to know yourself. Autonomy, mindset, having questions, seeking answers. Let's see. Now, let me see if I can. Hi, Tracy. I do not do a lot of lives, so don't think you've been missing lives from me. But good to have you here. I'm talking about my upcoming book, Magick Manifesto, in where I have wrote a Magick Manifesto about not what magic is, but how to build a practice what do you say? God, I've already lost words about what it is. Like magic theory through the lens of magic. So I'm being purposefully obtuse in this book, not to be this like self-help agent. I don't want to be some kind of self-help agent, this magical guru. I don't want to be that. I want to be your magical philosophy teacher. And I don't even want to be the teacher. I want to be more the I just want to be the magician behind the curtain. Okay? That's just shouting questions at you, and it feels kind of like a ooh, I do need to think about that. That's kind of how I want this book to come across. So we'll see. Okay, we'll see. I don't know how this is going to go over. And then we have theory. Now, magical theory is based in a lot of things. Now, again, I really want to stress that this isn't just for witches. This is for anyone who uses magic in a practice. So this could be magicians, occultists, sorcerers, wizards, and witches, pagans, like whoever's using magic will get something. I erased all the craft, all the paganism, all the animism. I've erased that for this book and condensed it into this 270 some pages to really talk about the foundations in a non-teachable way. So in the theory chapter, we're just breaking theory down into what the hell it even is. So magical theory is based in the magical models. It's based in a magical hierarchy, right? Versus the gods all the way down to what your magical hierarchy looks like. Like in your hierarchy, who would have the most magic? Would it be your gods, and then your guides, and then you, and then the animal spirits that you work with, and then the land spirits? Like, do you have a hierarchy, right? And then magic as a recipe. I think of magic having a recipe, like it's an equation that you build, right? So I talk about that. I talk about the principles of magic. I talk about work outward towards everything. So magic starts from within here, but then what do you do with it? How do you get it to come out? How do you project it? So, and then I talk about power, because that's another huge thing about magical theory, is that what is magical power? What does it mean to even have power? What is power going to do for you? What are you going to do for the power to keep it going? Is it a conduit? Would you equate it to some kind of electrical current? Like how magic works. That's what but it's not me telling you how magic works. It's you figuring it out for yourself, because it's all coming in from in here anyway. So magic's price. I actually made a whole video on this really on the channel not too long ago, because I went down this rabbit hole, and this magic's price, I made that video because it was taking up so much space in my magical journal, because I have like this magic book where I'd like talk and I just journal about my thoughts really. And so I wanted to get it all out of there. And so I talk a lot about that. And I moved from the theory to application. And the application for me is how we're applying magic. But again, we're not. We're spreading it out. We're spreading it out like we're in a conference room, right? And I want to be able to say, okay, we're going to apply the magic. This would probably look like your how plus your why. So it's those two together. Again, like an equation. How are you applying the magic? Are you using yourself? Are you using your intuition? Are you using logic? Like, what are you using to apply? How are you going to add those two things together, the how and the why? So, and again, we talk a little bit about being an armchair practitioner in this chapter too, because applying implies that you're acting, that you want to act. So again, that's your how. So you could just be sitting there and not having a how because you're not doing anything. So that belongs in the application. And then we have belief, again, breaking that down. But then I get a little into the like magical 101 stuff. I go into magical calendar, lay it all out. all the things that you could add into a magical calendar, what that would look like. Just pour it all out, right? And again, I asked so many questions in these chapters that it doesn't feel like you're reading about me. I want you to read it and then be in your own head about you and your magic and how it's coming out. Like, what's your culture? Do you have days for divinity? Do you have astrology days? Or astrology events? Celestial events, holidays, Sabbats, moon phases, yada, yada, yada. I mean, like, the list was really massive for this. Then you have spiritual hygiene. Again, breaking it down to what even it means to protect yourself magically. Because some people don't believe, like, their belief structure doesn't coincide with them having to protect themselves from, let's say, spirits, right? If they don't really believe that a malevolent spirit is going to come in when they evoke something, like say that they open a channel or they open a circle or they open some kind of portal, if they don't necessarily believe that some malevolent spirit's going to come back out of that portal, then they're not going to want to protect themselves. Right? If they think, I'll open this portal and only what I call will come forth, if it does, because sometimes it doesn't, but only what I call will come, nothing else. If they don't actually believe in those malevolent spirits or malevolent entities, then they wouldn't need to protect. It would be a waste of their time, magically speaking. So, hello, Nanette. How have you been doing? I'm going to mute myself so I can suck up again. Oh. Okay. I had a cough, sorry. And we go through so much in here. Like energy. Oh, one of these was in my magical journal in marker, like Sharpie. Okay. And it was, is this really energy or is this a spirit? Sometimes I can't answer that question. You know, is it just an energy that I'm feeling? What is this energy? Could it be a spirit? How would I know if it's a spirit? You don't. The people that are claiming, like, oh, I felt something on the back of my neck and I think that was the spirit, blah, 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 blah. How do you know it was that? How do you know it wasn't just some energy? What kind of energy? Is it because of how you felt? Is it because of when it was? It was because of where the moon was? What phase it was in? Did you reach out to this specific entity or spirit beforehand? Like, what happened to make this come about? And so I think so many people would be nodding along to a lot of these questions that I ask, because sometimes I hear somebody talk about something and I'm like, wait. I'm not trying to get you to convince me. That's not what I want. I don't want you to convince me. I just want you to, like, let's chat. Let's chat about it. Okay. What made you think that such and such actually was this? Is it because you believe this and this, and it was just like this giant web that you know how to do really fast in your head? So, oh, and you didn't even know? Wow. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Ugh. All right. Now we still have quite a bit of chapters to go through. And like I said, when you read a page, you think, I knew this already. But that's the rub. I want you to know that you already know this. But then the questions that I ask, you're going to be like, huh, did I really know this? what do I actually believe about this? What am I really feeling about this? Like, that's what I want. Now, the practice, magical practice, is something completely different. This is the application process. This is the actual how, right? So when I say magical practice, so many things get spread out on the conference table. Okay, how are we doing this? We're doing this by conjuring up hypotheses, making spell maps. What are we doing this for? The practice of magic is finding out what. What are we doing magic for? Are we doing it for health? Are we doing it for success, love, money? How are we directing that? How will we direct it? How can it be directed? And then methods. What are the methods in the madness of magic? Okay, because there are, and there's a slew of them. You think about the methods of magic, not the models of magic, but the methods, ways in which you could conduct a magical working. This is the working chapter. It is spells, rituals, energy manipulation, spirit work, divination, evocation, invocation, enchantment, illusion, shape-shifting, consciousness work, sympathetic magic, art magic, amulets and talismans, petitions, protections, nature magic, word magic, and pop culture. That's a lot of stuff in the methods. And there are so many ways that you can work magic to form a magical working, but the methods, these are just probably the most popular, okay? And it's like, how, because that was another thing. One of my ultimate questions in the beginning of my practice that I wanted to know the answer to was, how do I know what to do when? How do I know? How do I know what to do if, say, I want to do a working, but I want to add a candle, and I want to add this spirit, and I want to evoke this, and I want to leave out this, how would I know what to do? How would I know how to build it? So the methods taught me how to build a working. So hi. Geez. Um, Now you'd think that history, magical history, is all about the history of magic. Okay? No, no, no. No. The history of magic chapter would be about your history with magic and how you feel about the history of magic. Okay? So, do you believe magical practitioners are born or made? What's your culture? Does your culture influence your magical practice? Where does magic come from? Let me see what these pages are. Secrets. Is magic supernatural? Are you your ancestors' magic? What magic was actually first? Primitivism. So that's like way, way back in time. Think about what was the magic that was done in like Homo sapien times, if any. What are your beliefs around that? How did the gods get power, if you believe they have more power than you? How is it divided up? Stuff like that. Check out the world. Stories told around campfires. So this is about the history of magic through the lens of magic. And it's really, and actually this chapter is really enlightening because it got me to open up in ways that I didn't think about these topics, you know? And then the very last chapter is a chapter called Reality. And it's about how magic doesn't fix everything. At the end of the day, we're human. But what does that mean? What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be a magical human and believe in magic? And is it, you know, magic as expression, magic as wonder, magic as consciousness, magic as human? You know, if you think magic is intrinsically human, what about like if you were an animist? Yeah, that thing over there has a spirit, that has a soul, but does it perceive magic the same way you do? So is magic only through the lens of a human consciousness? Woo, right? Magic doesn't fix everything. Is it? And then this is a little bit of some bad comments I've gotten from trolls on YouTube before. I wanted to put them in this book too. Is magic placebo? Is it escapism? Is it a loophole? Is it a ploy just to get what I want? Is it all about aesthetics? And am I human versus my magic, or because of my magic, or with my magic? These are questions I kind of pose at you. And really, it's about, at the end of the day, magic for the sake of magic is the relationship between you and magic. That's it. And so, one of the last pages in this book is the recommendation, the call to action. Most manifestos have a call to action. They have this thing where they're like usually manifestos are about something political, okay? And it's like, go vote blank, go vote for blank, right? Or a lot of people make art manifestos, right? That's talking about how they view art, what their beliefs are about art, and you know why art is so important to the culture, right? Like lots of people have made their artist manifestos and talking about why art is so important, but no one's ever talked about why magic is important. No one. So my call of action for this whole thing is write your own manifesto. Write your own manifesto. Answer these questions. Think about these things and try to come up with some kind of, or a few, come up with some declarations of your own about how you really believe, what you really believe, how you believe, and come at that through the magic lens. And I had talked about, like I said, I put some bullet points down on this piece of paper. And I wanted to talk about, it's like not teaching. I talked about that. Purposefully obtuse. It's the basics, but I've ripped them inside out. So it's the basics of magic, but when you read it, it starts to feel like we're turning magic inside of itself. We're going inside. We're like playing Operation. That's what we're doing. We're playing Operation with magic. And the subtitle for this book is Philosophy and Personal Gnosis. I only called it Personal Gnosis because these are my questions. These aren't general. They're not too generalized because they're questions I've come up with myself, questions I've put in my own book of mirrors, my own book of shadows, questions that I have about magic, and the questions I did have when I was a child wanting to have a magical practice. So it's all trying to balance itself out, you know? And one of the things too is the tense. I talk to myself in a lot of these pages. Like I asked myself this, or I felt like this, or maybe I should blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm really talking to myself. But then when I change tenses and say we, I'm including myself into the bucket of practitioners. So I really want to feel, when I'm talking to myself, I'm in my head in some of the pages. I'm in my own head. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what I feel about this. But then I'm like, but we should blah, 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 we could blah, 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 blah. And then I think, no, I'm including myself into the pool, right? And so I've changed tenses in a couple of places to signify that I want us to come together and be more of a group with this, with the concept of magic that we all love. Let's see. The personal gnosis is more, instead of my intrinsic beliefs or going into some of my magical stories, which I'm sure would probably be boring to most people, because a lot of my stories aren't like, how you read some people's books from witchcraft, especially because those are the books I usually buy. But say you're reading a witchcraft book or a magical book, and they talk a lot about their experiences. And you love that. You're reading and you're like, yeah, that's so cool that happened to you, or that this happened to you, or that so-and-so spoke to you from the astral realm. And you do feel a kinship to these people reading about their experiences. However, instead of including my experiences, I'm including myself into the practitioner pool that needs to think about these things. So it's like if I were to buy a copy of this book when it comes out, I want to be able to read it and do exactly what the other readers are doing, forming my own opinions. I don't want to give you my opinions because I don't want that to change your output. I don't want you to read something about my experiences and then be like, oh, well, this happened to Lennon, so my experience is different. And I don't see, it's going to change. It's going to change the trajectory of the mind. And I didn't want that. So I left me out of it. The personal gnosis is more my depth. You're going to see a lot of my depth. A couple of people in the past, since I've come on YouTube, have called me deep. I don't really know why, because it's just how I've always been. They called me deep, and I've tried to figure out what that meant. And I think it's just because of the way I talk, the way that I analyze things, the way that I philosophize things. And so really this book is me. This book is my grimoire, my naked grimoire. This is the grimoire of me. That's just the questions and personal gnosis and philosophy behind these things. And then I'm going to get a very beautiful grimoire journal and then write my own Magick Manifesto that no one ever sees. And it'll be my own personal grimoire. And it'll be this magical thing where I've locked down a lot of my beliefs and locked down what I believe about the universe and how it's all working, right? But then at the end of the day, I know that one of the most important things I can do in magic is to not become too rigid. I'll talk a little bit about this in this book too, is just because you believe something from here, okay, you believe something right now today, doesn't mean that something's going to happen to you in a week or two or next year or in 5 that's going to change how you believe. It's going to happen. Change is the only inevitable constant, okay? I believe that intrinsically because it's a known fact. And that's the only fact I present in this book, is that you're going to change. You're going to evolve, which means your practice will have to evolve, which means you can read this 5 times and all the answers for all the questions I present to you will be different, could potentially be different. But that's the magic of this book. That's the magic of this manifesto. And I really hope that it comes across like I'm picturing it, because that's how I want it to go. But some people might not feel comfortable doing that. Some people... Dylan, this is what I was afraid of. Everyone would be like, I mean, I like what you're saying, but I don't know about this. I don't know what you're saying. I like what you're saying, but I don't know what you're saying. It comes out on Samhain. Okay? This comes out on Samhain. Now, I've got a plan. Okay? I've got some what I call beta readers that have been reading my poetry books a little bit before they come out, right? and they just kind of make sure that I spell shit right, sentence structure is good, stuff like that, right? Like copy editors. Got a handful of them. And so I'll probably send this out to them soon if they're open. I always ask for their permission. And then they'll get back to me. Usually I give them a couple of weeks to get back to me to see if there's any spelling errors or any kind of errors that they've plocked up. And what I want to do, okay, sorry, I got distracted by comments. What I want to do, okay, is after the beta readers come back, and if there's any changes to it I need to make, then I'll make those changes, right? And then I'll come up with the brand spanking good manuscript. And what I want to do is print off some copies, like some physical copies, and send them to some magicians, okay, to get the word out. And I want to be able to get the word out to as many, what do you say, pockets of people, okay? Because like the people that listen to me, the people that like watch me on YouTube, here's my sphere of witches and magicians and occultists and all that stuff, right? And then I might have one over here that's an occultist, right? That's not a witch. They're an occultist. So they've got their own circle over there that watch them. And then there's a magician over here, or a Luciferian over here, or just a, like not just a, okay, but like maybe a pagan, a magician, just all kinds of magic people. And I've got a couple of ideas about who I could send it to. Sometimes I've not gotten a lot of good responses. I've emailed quite a few people in the past about like receiving a free copy of my book to review so that I could get the word out. And I was like stonewalled. So I'm not really sure how to go about that. So I may send it to some people in the community to properly review it, to get the word out, to like spread the word a little bit better. But I'm not really in the know. Like I don't know how to do that as a self-published author. So I'm not sure. So maybe just my people, just my circle, which is fine. Okay. My circle who feels drawn to getting this will love it, and it'll be great, hopefully, for them, just like all my other books. I only want the people that need it and they're gonna get something out of it to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to be greedy about this. If it's gonna be, if it's important, it'll be important, and it'll just be important, and that's it. It's really not about how many copies get sold. So, and it's not like I'm going to be barking down Matt Orange's tree to get him to review my book, Like, I don't even know how one gets in touch with someone like that, to be honest with you. I have no idea. I just self-publish my books, and then that's it. So yeah, this comes out on Samhain. I only did it that way to give myself time to get my beta readers to read it and get it finished. My manuscript for it is done right now, but I'll get this out probably starting tomorrow. I'll get it out to my beta readers just to see. Yeah, hit me up on Instagram, Nanette. I mean, if you want my email, it's on my link tree. Just go, if you click my link tree, go all the way down. There's a little envelope. Just click that, and that's my email. Just email me. Just hit me up. I'm willing to send it to you, to y'all. It's just a PDF. It would be a PDF copy. At first, for the beta readers is what I'm saying. But if you're talking about like to review it, advertise it, or whatever, hit me up. Yeah, whatever. We could chat. And like I had a couple people in mind, because I'm like, who do you tell? Who do you tell? Because you think, okay, I'd like the people in the occult sphere to know that this exists, right? So I thought, who are some occultists that I know? Besides like Ivy, right? Like I don't know how to contact her either. And then I thought about some witches. I know a lot of witches I could send it to. And so it's just about like, how do you get the word out if you don't even know where to start? And you get closer to my release dates, I always get some kind of like weird imposter syndrome where I'm like, I'm not sending it to someone popular because, and you know what, looking at this now, it's not that I don't believe in the work. It's just that I get so disheartened that someone could ridicule me for my depth, if that makes sense. I've been ridiculed about my depth in the past. Like I said, when people call me deep, that's okay. But some people have made fun of me because I tend to be like the up in the clouds. You think too much. You're overanalyzing. Why are you asking so many questions? Can't it just be blank? And I'm like, yes, but why? And I've always been that way. So I've been ridiculed about being deep before, and I wouldn't want someone who has had a name in the community to ridicule me, I guess. It's this whole age-old thing about cancel culture. You know, I wouldn't want somebody to stand on a stage and be like, yeah, this Lennon girl, she's overanalyzed magic to within an inch of its life to where it would have no basis anymore. Like, you mean Astro Lady? She would like it, probably. She would probably like it. I've sent things. I think I've sent some stuff to her before. I might reach out to her about it and see if she's interested. Because once I get the paper copy, like the paperback book, it's more about like once I have them, it's just about who to tell. You know, because there's so many witches. There's April from Natural Witchery. There's the Wild Witch. I think her name's Sarah. Then there's like the people in the occult sphere, like the Order of Chaos. Then you've got the book people. Like I thought about Marshall, the Witch of Southern Light. Now I've always admired Theo Gade Parma, and he's a writer. No, I'm sorry. Sorry, Theo. Sorry. They are a writer, beautiful writer. I love their work, and I admired them a lot. But I wouldn't know how to get in touch with them, except on Instagram. So many people on Instagram have their DMs like, what do you call it? Like crossed out? Yeah, Sonia has a few of my books that I've sent to her. She'd eat that shit up. Yeah. See, Anna's deep like me too sometimes. She can get deep. Now, see, the weird thing about knowing all this is that I know that Anna is a magical person, right? But her channel is mostly tarot, right? And she's cultivated her channel to be about tarot. So, I don't know. I just think that there's so many people that I like. Amethyst Ascension, you know, like Rochelle would probably love this book. Let's see, who else? Justin. I think I'm going to send it to Justin. I'm going to get in touch with him. But there's just like so many people I want to send it to, but it's more about like, will they love it? It doesn't matter, okay? It's for their honest review, okay? But I'd hope that they would love it. And I'm thinking like, okay, who would like this? Who would need it in their life? And then who would have the gumption to advertise it? That's it. Or who would even want to? Not at the end of the day, I can't ask them to. Like I can just say, hey, you want a copy for an honest review? And if they stonewall me, there's nothing I can do about it. Like I said, that's happened to me before. I actually sent a deck. Actually, it was a deck. Okay. It was a book and a deck. One of my poetry books. I sent it to somebody pretty popular in the community. And they were all gung-ho. They were like, yeah, sure, yeah. Send it my way. So I sent it to them. And then they just never heard anything back from them. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I'm a little leery about doing it now with all this rising up. I should have probably sent this to a publisher, like a, what do you call it, traditional publisher. Did not know how to do that. Did not know how to do that. There's so much to learn. I could have sent it to a couple of people just like within the occult sphere, like Llewellyn or Crosscrow Books or Three Hands Press, Miskatonic Books. Oh my God. You know who would really like this book? Foolish Fish. Oh, yes. How the hell do you get in touch with these people? And it feels so weird because like I've been following Foolish Fish since he started his channel, okay? And I don't know, it just feels kind of weird to like contact these people and be like, oh yeah, I've been following you for like 10 years. Would you want to review my book? It sounds so, it just sounds like impersonal, you know? And I want it to be like from the heart. I mean, there's no way to tell you, like, there's no way to tell someone in an email that you're genuine. There's like no way to do that, you know, because nobody knows tone. Oh my God, I did just start following her. Night Willow Crafts. She's written a lot of books too, but she reviews a shit ton of books. Like a shit ton of books every week. And then I know that City Witch lives in the UK. She reviews a lot of witchcraft books too. I just don't know how to get it to these people. You know? I don't even know how to contact Foolish Fish because I don't even think he has a website to where you can email him. Yeah, Night Willow. I should write that down. Night. Because I've got quite a list going. Yeah. Oh, and then I thought about sending it to Tiara May. Like, what do y'all think about that idea? Because I think she would eat this book up too. She reviews a lot of witchcraft books. And a lot of the obscure ones I've never even heard of, which is good. Let's see. Wouldn't she? Would she not love this? Like, I haven't talked to her, like, outside of commenting something about her decks, but, whose channel are you talking about? I don't know who you're talking about. But I thought about Tiara May because then I didn't realize that I knew that she was into the craft, but I didn't know that she would be like into reading the philosophy behind the craft. So I may just ask her if she would like a copy of this to review. And she wouldn't have to make a huge review about it. Just see how she likes it. Maybe write something about it in her Substack or something. I don't know. Yeah. I'm gonna try if I don't have their email address to properly do it, I'll probably just try to hit some people up on Instagram. See how that goes. So, but y'all have given me some good ideas. Ooh. Because this isn't a poetry book. Okay? It's not a poetry book. It's not supposed to be a poetry book. Let me move my camera down a little bit because it's annoying me. I think you were talking to Tilly. Okay. Yeah, Night Willow has written quite a few witchcraft books about specific topics, and then she reviews a hell of a lot of books on her channel. So yeah, give her a follow. So yeah, definitely thought about so many people that I know that we all follow, that we all could follow, that could potentially get the word out that there's another magic book out. I don't even know how to say that without sounding pompous, but it's just about getting the word out, I guess, at the end of the day. But anyway, how long have I been on? An hour and a half? Jeez. Now, who are you talking about, Dylan? Tiara? Now, I know sometimes she locks that shit down because I know that when she has a deck coming out, people just bombard her with comments and stuff. So I'm hoping I can catch her. So yeah, I'm hoping that I can contact these people. So okay, but honestly, for y'all that are here, okay, what do y'all feel about this? This is really going to be philosophizing magic, all right? And it will feel like a magical magical 101, but it really won't be that. So how do y'all feel about that? Y'all feel like that would go over well, or would just go over people's heads? What is y'all honest thoughts about something like that before even knowing what the book really looks like? What are some honest thoughts about that? Just feed my imposter syndrome into Teach Night before I get off of here. While I read this. I think I've covered all the topics that I wanted to cover. Let me write the other name that y'all said down. Okay. I've got quite a few people on this list. I'm going to try to hit them up. If I can send this book out to these people, the beginning of October, that'll give them a few weeks to read up on it, read it, and then once it comes out, the word can be spread. Okay. There should be some. Okay, if what I'm thinking that you're saying, how do you make everyone know that you're sub to me? There should be something in the settings. like in your YouTube settings, like go all the way into the settings, and it should be like you want people to know who you're subscribed to. Now, I don't know who's subscribed to me. So, like right now, it's not telling me that y'all are subscribed to me or not, if that makes sense. When y'all comment on my videos, it's not necessarily, now sometimes it'll say subscriber to the channel, but it's random. I never know why it says it and why sometimes it doesn't. But for the same people. So I'm not really sure. So let me read what you said. Yeah. Because it really is about the questions and figuring out what magic is in an intrinsic level. So it becomes something that you not only believe in, but that you come to know, and you feel it with your whole being. Right. And that's really what I want, okay? Is that for anyone that has ever thought about magic could read this book and design a practice around it. In any kind of capacity, whether they choose to go down any path, you know. If you want to work with magic, just know where you want it to go, how you want it to flow through you. See, I feel the same way, Dylan. Maybe it's something about our depth that, not that, okay, not that people aren't deep, but we feel like our depth is too deep for some people, even though they may be deep themselves, but we just assume that our depth is too deep for them. And then we somehow get, like, we pull ourselves up to the surface along with pulling someone else up to the surface with us when we're talking, instead of staying in the depth. I think it's more along the lines of we're just assuming that the world has no depth, and so therefore they wouldn't want our depth, if that makes sense. And see, I don't want the depth, Nanette. I don't want the depth to trigger any of those things. My depth. Okay. But it's more about, like, when you're reading this, it's just gonna be, you're gonna be thinking. You're gonna be mostly doing thinking and writing stuff down if you choose. Oh, and see, that's just a journey. Knowing your own depth is just a journey, Dylan. I'm way more deep than I share. And really, my depth is just because I've cultivated a relationship to thought. Like, I want to think. I like to think. And sometimes life gets in the way and I'm not able to think as much as I want to, but I want to. So you see what I'm saying? It's a journey. Oh. No, yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying now, Nanette. Um, that you already subbed. So it's not like you were just kind of gone quiet there and you were like not saying, "Oh, I'll sub to the blah blah blah." Yeah, okay. Okay. And I do, one of these days I do want to unlock my subs for people to see who I'm following. Uh but I don't think that I have found any new people like that other people wouldn't know about. Um so I don't think I found anyone new yet in like the last year or two. So everyone that I sub to, I would think that the people in my sphere would all be sub to. So, but if y'all know, okay, so for those of you who might watch this back, if you've gotten this far, you could leave your favorite occultists, favorite magicians, favorite witches, see if we're sub to them or not. If you have someone that's like on YouTube or, heavy on, hell, I'm not even on TikTok. There might be some witches over there that I don't even know exist. Or Instagram, if you've got some favorites that you want to shout out, do so in the comments. And that way we can just like start following each other, because I really want this manifesto, just like a real manifesto, in real manifesto style. I really want us to come together. I just want us to like come together. We can all be different. We can all be following different paths, but let's get out of this like paranoid, I'm worried about sharing my path because of gatekeeping and shit like that. And let's just share. I have something planned for the equinox coming up with the Baba Yaga, okay? And the Baba Yaga I'm gonna evoke her, and I'm just gonna share it on YouTube. And it'll be another one of these vulnerable type rituals that I share that I haven't really before. So I'm gonna try to get more vulnerable on my channel than I have been. I bet you she would, Dylan. I think she would, because she likes manifestos. She likes philosophy. She likes philosophizing about magic. She likes to talk about magic. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think she's too popular for me, for my little bitty old self. I don't want to put her in this like elevated status, like she's no longer a person because she's so high up there, but I would feel like this big contacting someone like that. They just feel so out of my league, if that makes sense. Like Kellyanne, Ivy, even Tiara May, even. They feel so like they've blossomed into these content creators in some form or the other, that I just feel sort of like they're too big for me. And like, if I reached out, it would just be because they're big that I would be reaching out. Even though I know that they would, like, I know Kellyanne would probably eat this book up. She would love it. She would love something like this to chew on. But I don't want her to feel like the only reason I would contact her is because she would have the numbers, I wouldn't know how to come across contacting her in a genuine way that wouldn't make her feel or doubt me, if that makes sense. So, but I've thought about it. I just wouldn't want these beautiful people to think that I'm only contacting them for their numbers. I don't even know how to go about doing something like that. Like, hey, I'm coming from a true, genuine place. Well, I'm sure a lot of people tell them that. And she is. I mean, she really is a genuinely good person. And her readings are good, and she has such a good repertoire with people that I admire and respect the hell out of her and what she's built. But it's more so about, I wouldn't want her to think that I would only ask her to get my book because of the clout she could bring, So, plus, I don't know exactly how I would get in touch with her either. Maybe I could email her through her website. I don't know. And maybe I could just tell her, hey, look, I want to send you a copy of this book. Please, you don't have to do anything with it, but I think you'll love it. Maybe that's just all I need to do, is just send her a copy, and not for like a review or anything, just because I think she'd like it. Dylan. You'd be my proxy? That's hilarious. Not that your offer isn't genuine, okay? But it feels so good that you would do something like that for me. That you would like, like on my behalf. That just makes me feel so good. Yeah, and I've known quite a lot of people that talk to other people outside of YouTube, and I've only talked to a handful of people, like through email, never really on Zoom or anything like that. And I need to get better. Like I said, I've talked to a few people through email, and I hope to get better about opening up in the real world to people. And so reaching out shouldn't, it's not that I'm scared. Again, it's not that I'm scared. These are just people, okay? They're not gods. But it's hard to find the right tone in like a message, if that makes sense. So true, I could just hit her up in Linktree. Oh. But you've given me some courage, Nanette, because if you genuinely think that maybe I could, form conversations with these people and I could conjure something that would be actually genuine and have genuine conversations with these people, and that would be great. I've gotten a little bit more confident now that y'all have said that. So oh, you're one of those. Okay. I see. All right. I'm going to get off here now. I've been on here for a long time. But Dylan, actually, either one of you, if it gets to the point where I do get too scared to talk to some of these people, I might reach out to y'all and ask, let's like form a group, and we'll all just be each other's proxy for all this stuff. We'll just like, you contact this person, we'll make like this like telephone tree, like in Practical Magic. We'll do a phone tree. We'll just all get on like WhatsApp or something. We'll call each other. But yeah, I definitely want to reach out to some of these people and get the word out. And Nanette, we'll get together on Instagram or something, or you can email me. I don't care which. Yeah, we'll kick down the door together. Yeah, that sounds great. This would be like this intervention, a magical intervention. Actually, that's what this book is. Oh, thank you, Nanette. That means a lot to me. I try. But it's more so, it's so exhausting to be someone you're not. It's too exhausting for me. But my baby's back there still screaming, and he's supposed to be in the bed. So my husband's going to get an earful when I get off of this live. Why is this baby still up? So anyway, thank y'all so much for coming and talking to me about my new book. I'll be posting some stuff on my community tab post and on Instagram, of course, and may mention it in a video. All my videos coming up. That I've got this book coming out, but I really want to start the countdown because I never really give y'all time to like know that something's coming up. Like with Night Mother, I told y'all like the day before. So, yeah, so I'm gonna hit y'all up if I get too scared, if I get too like jittery about it. But yeah, I want to start the countdown, get people excited, get people to like, share it around. Hey, got a new book coming out. So it'll be something precious to me. So, but I'm gonna go and blow my nose. Should have brought some tissues, and I'll see y'all soon. Dylan, if I don't see you in my comments, I'm wishing you well and with your mundane stuff that you're dealing with, and Nanette too. I know you're there. I know y'all are sending love, even if y'all don't comment, and I'm glad that y'all are here tonight. So I will see y'all soon. Okay? Bye.